Welcome to Global Watch. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon for more breaking updates. In a world where borders are often drawn and redrawn, sometimes with ink, sometimes with force, the lines on a map can carry the weight of a nation's resolve. The Philippines has just taken a stand that reverberates far beyond its shores, a bold move that signals both defiance and hope. Today, in a highly publicized event, Manila unveiled a new official map. This isn't just a cartographic update, it's a direct, unmistakable challenge to China's sweeping claims over the South China Sea, a region long fraught with tension and competing interests. The new map boldly asserts the Philippines' 200 nautical mile exclusive economic zone, clearly marking out the contested Scarborough Shoal, known locally as Bajo de Masinloc. This area, rich in resources and strategic value, has been a flashpoint for years. But this act is more than a technical adjustment. It's a declaration of sovereignty, a visual and political pushback against years of Chinese encroachment, and a statement that the Philippines will not be sidelined in its own backyard. The South China Sea is not just a local concern, it's a vital artery for global trade, with trillions of dollars worth of goods passing through its waters every year. Whoever controls these waters holds sway over a significant portion of the world's commerce, making this dispute a flashpoint with far-reaching implications. By releasing this map, the Philippines reaffirms its rights under international law, especially the landmark 2016 arbitral ruling that invalidated China's expansive 9-line claim. Despite China's outright rejection of the ruling, the Philippines is doubling down, using both legal precedent and international support to bolster its position. Tensions in the region have been escalating, with frequent confrontations between Philippine and Chinese vessels. Each encounter at sea is a reminder of the stakes involved, and Manila's new map is a call to the world to uphold the rules-based order that underpins international relations. The United States and regional neighbors like Vietnam and Malaysia are watching closely, aware that the Philippines' stand could set a precedent for their own maritime disputes with China. The move has forced the issue into the international spotlight, prompting discussions in diplomatic circles and newsrooms worldwide. This is a modern David and Goliath story, one small nation standing up to a regional giant, with international law and the stability of Southeast Asia hanging in the balance. The outcome could reshape the dynamics of power and influence in the region for years to come. As the world watches and waits, all eyes are now on Beijing. Will China escalate its response? Or will this new line drawn in the water mark the beginning of a new chapter in the struggle for the South China Sea? To truly understand today's tensions in the South China Sea, we must look back at the long and complex history of Scarborough Shoal. This small, rocky outcrop has become a flashpoint in regional geopolitics, but its story stretches back centuries, woven into the fabric of Philippine history and identity. Located just 120 nautical miles from Luzon, Scarborough Shoal sits well within the Philippines' exclusive economic zone, or EEZ, as defined by international law. Its proximity to the main Philippine island makes it not just a geographic feature, but a crucial part of the nation's maritime territory. For generations, Filipino fishermen have depended on these rich fishing grounds for their livelihoods. The shoal is more than a resource, it's a living part of their heritage, a place where traditions are passed down and communities are sustained by the sea. Historical records, such as the renowned 1734 Murillo Velarde map, clearly mark Scarborough Shoal as part of the Philippine archipelago. These maps, preserved in museums and archives, serve as enduring evidence of the country's long-standing connection to the shoal. In 1913, the Philippine Supreme Court asserted its jurisdiction over a shipwreck at Scarborough Shoal, reinforcing the nation's legal claim. This early legal action set a precedent, showing that the Philippines has exercised authority over the area for more than a century. The 2009 Baselines Law, passed by the Philippine Congress, further cemented the shoal's status under Philippine law. This move was met with immediate and vocal protests from Beijing, highlighting the growing international stakes and the beginning of a new era of dispute. For Manila, the Scarborough Shoal dispute is not a recent development, but a defense of rights that have been recognized and exercised for generations. The current conflict is seen as a response to new challenges, not the start of a new claim. At its core, the conflict is about defending national heritage, livelihoods, and sovereignty against the ambitions of an expansionist power. For the Philippines, Scarborough Shoal is not just a matter of territory. It's a symbol of identity and resilience in the face of external pressure. China's claim to Scarborough Shoal, or Huangyan Island, is rooted in a different historical narrative. Beijing cites a 13th century survey and the infamous 9-line, which claims nearly 90% of the South China Sea. This line overlaps with the EEZs of several countries, including the Philippines. China sees the shoal as a strategic outpost and a symbol of national rejuvenation, teaching this narrative in schools and media. Beijing frames its actions as law enforcement within its own territory, dismissing international legal challenges as interference. The result is an unyielding stance, making the dispute deeply intractable. The region remains tense, with history and ambition colliding on the open sea. Facing China's assertiveness, the Philippines turned to international law, not warships. In 2013, Manila brought a case against China under UNCLOS, challenging the 9-line's legality. The case focused on maritime entitlements, not land ownership, and argued Scarborough Shoal was within the Philippines' EEZ. In 2016, the tribunal ruled overwhelmingly for the Philippines, declaring China's historic rights claim baseless. The ruling found China had violated Philippine rights and caused environmental harm at the shoal. China rejected the decision and continued its activities, undermining the international legal order. For the Philippines, the ruling remains a powerful diplomatic tool, now reinforced by its new map. The legal battle continues to shape the region's geopolitics. Scarborough Shoal is now a zone of constant tension. Since 2012, China has maintained a near-permanent blockade, using Coast Guard and militia vessels to keep Filipino fishermen out. These gray zone tactics escalate without triggering outright war, including water cannon attacks and blockades. The Philippines responds with assertive transparency, documenting every incident to rally global support. Satellite imagery shows the standoff's intensity, with Chinese vessels blocking access and conducting drills. Manila refuses to back down, sending patrols and condemning China's actions. Each encounter risks a dangerous escalation, turning the shoal into a high-stakes geopolitical theater. The world watches as every mission could spark a wider conflict. The Scarborough Shoal dispute casts a long shadow over the region. Politically, it shapes Philippine elections and fuels nationalist sentiment, forcing leaders to balance defense and economic ties with China. Economically, Filipino fishing communities have been devastated by the blockade, pushing many into poverty. The conflict tests ASEAN unity and draws the U.S. deeper into regional security, raising the risk of a broader crisis. The environmental toll is severe, coral reefs are damaged, and marine biodiversity is threatened by ongoing activities. The blockade is not just strategy, it's economic and ecological strangulation. The crisis erodes sovereignty, cripples local economies, and destroys a precious natural habitat. The stakes are not just political, but deeply human and environmental. The region's future hangs in the balance. Experts are calling the Philippines' new map a strategic masterstroke, a move that is sending ripples across the region and beyond. By redrawing its maritime boundaries, Manila is not just making a cartographic statement, it's signaling a bold new era in its foreign policy, one that is both assertive and deeply calculated. Dr. Elena Franco, a leading maritime law scholar, explains, this embeds the 2016 Arbitral Award into national identity and diplomacy. The map, she says, is more than a document. It's a declaration that the Philippines will not let its legal victory fade into history, but will instead use it as a foundation for future policy. By making these claims visible and official, the map makes it far more difficult for future leaders to backslide or compromise. It strengthens Manila's legal position, anchoring its claims in both international law and the national consciousness. Security analysts caution that China is unlikely to respond with open conflict. Instead, they predict an escalation of so-called gray zone tactics, coercive actions that stop short of war, such as increased patrols, maritime blockades, and cyber operations. Retired Admiral Robert Chen notes, Beijing prizes control. Expect more aggressive maneuvers and economic pressure. He warns that China may use its vast resources to test Manila's resolve, both at sea and in the economic arena. Dr. David Lee, a trade expert, adds, the Philippines risks economic retaliation, but bets on long-term strategic gain. He points out that while there may be short-term costs, Manila is gambling that international support and a stronger legal footing will pay off in the years ahead. The new map internationalizes the dispute, drawing in other countries and forcing them to clarify their positions on the rules-based order. It's a move that could reshape alliances and test the resolve of regional and global powers. In effect, Manila has drawn a line in the sand of international diplomacy, making it clear that it will defend its sovereignty and legal rights. The coming months will reveal which nations are willing to cross that line, and which will stand with the Philippines in upholding international law. The strategic landscape has shifted dramatically, and now, the world must decide how to respond to this new reality. As tensions rise, Typhoon Kalmaigi barrels toward the South China Sea. The storm threatens all vessels in the contested waters, adding a new layer of danger. In a region poisoned by mistrust, it's unclear if rival ships would help each other in crisis. The Shoals Lagoon, once a refuge for fishermen, is now blocked, leaving them exposed to deadly storms. The typhoon turns a geopolitical standoff into a humanitarian emergency. Nature's fury underscores the human cost of the blockade. The crisis is now immediate, urgent, and tragic. The Philippines' new map is a bold move in a high-stakes chess match. It's a declaration of rights and a plea for a rules-based order in the South China Sea. The dispute is a test for international law and the credibility of global institutions. China's response will reveal its intentions as a global power, dialogue or further coercion. The world cannot remain passive. Silence emboldens aggression. The Philippines stands firm, using law, diplomacy, and cartography to make its case. This is a call for solidarity among nations that value a free and open maritime commons. The lines are drawn, on paper and in the water. The outcome will shape the world for decades to come. The world is watching.